coming to you from the Spit Studios in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. This is the Spit Sports Show. We made it. Oh, baby, we made it. The NHL season officially started yesterday. We've got another great slate of games today, including the Caps playing for the first time. And then on Thursday, the Vancouver Canucks kick off their regular season at home against the Calgary Flames. Now, this is such an interesting season for the Canucks in a million different ways, but I'm going to start off with the fact they're coming into this season with significantly lower expectations than they had last season. Like, not even close. They are right now currently an underdog to just make the playoffs. They have the 19th best odds to win the Stanley Cup. That is bottom half. Like, you are on a fringe of playoffs, and out of it, you have no chance to win a cup. And to be honest, I think that's a really good thing, specifically in this kind of market where whether you have the 19th best odds to win the cup, the 32nd best odds to win the cup, or the first best odds, there's going to be chatter constantly about you, and you are going to be the center of sports talk in the city. So being kind of in that middle ground where, making the playoffs is pretty good, we're kind of expecting to miss it. I feel like that's kind of the ideal spot for the Vancouver Canucks to start off their season. And it seems like the vibes in training camp and preseason have been awesome, which is not what was reported last year whatsoever. It seems like in the locker room, everything's been good. Still doesn't mean that there isn't a lot of pressure on the Canucks this season, because the Quinn Hughes contract, it looms over the Canucks like that cloud in Mario Kart that slowly became darker and darker and then like squished you. I don't know if that's exactly how it worked, but you know what I mean? Like the big dark cloud over you while you're racing. That's pretty much what's happening to the Vancouver Canucks right now, because he will be eligible to sign an extension next offseason. And he said, without saying it, my contract decision rests entirely upon Canucks management and our team and our ability to consistently compete for the chance to win a Stanley Cup. Speaking of Hughes, though, like this defense core for the Canucks is a primary reason why I think the team will have a really nice bounce back season. Because obviously Hughes and Hronek are great in the top two. Ever since Hronek was acquired from Detroit, he's really been that perfect top two right-hand shot defenseman that, to be honest, everyone in the NHL is really looking for. And props to the Canucks for getting on that, because he's been really good with Hughes. And then as for your second pairing, Tyler Myers is a really good defenseman when he has a really good D partner. He is very susceptible to the environment around him. Last year, when he had to play with Carson Soucy throughout the majority of the year, he looked terrible. Towards the end of last season, he was able to play with Marcus Pettersson, who I am in love with, to be honest. He's by far my favorite Pettersson. Just doesn't make mistakes. And him being Tyler Myers' defense partner just adds a layer of stability to that pairing that simply wasn't there in the top four last year. So I think that's going to be a very good wear down unit. And then for the third pairing, Derek Forbort is a fine third pairing defenseman. He's physical. He can win puck battles. He can kill penalties. And then the fun part about it is you can cycle through that sixth defenseman, whether that's going to be Victor Mancini, which it looks like it is on opening night, defense Elias Pettersson. You've got a bunch of prospects who are going to be able to come up and down the lineup as the season goes on, and expectedly injuries pile up. But the other thing that's so exciting about this defense core is they're going to be backed by a Thatcher Demko who is coming into the season not rehabbing but training in the offseason. Now, I made a whole video not specifically about that, but in the video I made the point about how important training is in the offseason versus rehabbing. Because when you're training, you're able to improve small elements of your game and continue to grow. Whereas when you're rehabbing, you're just trying to get back to where you were before the injury, right? I think Demko is going to have a Vezina caliber season this year if he's able to stay healthy. Big if, I totally admit that. But with this defense core in front of him, and not to mention defensive stalwart Adam Foote behind the bench now, I really think this Canucks team is going to be awesome at keeping pucks out of their net. And again, I've mentioned him before, but they have the best defenseman in the world. And when you have that, it just adds just such a great floor to your defense core. And it adds a great floor to your offensive core with Quinn Hughes specifically because he is such an unbelievable offensive generator from the back end. Because we're going to need it. The forwards are a huge question mark. There is no doubt about it. Now, specifically in the top 6 is where these questions arise. I actually think the Canucks' depth is really, really good. Like, I think Rotty and Drew O'Connor and Kiefer Sherwood and Teddy Bluger when he comes back, and Linus Karlsson even coming up from the AHL. There's another guy who, why can't I think of his name right now? But there's a bunch of great depth pieces for the Canucks coming into the season. The issue is their top end scoring, their top 6. And leading the charge, the head of that snake, is Elias Pettersson, who we are flatly going to need a giant bounce back season from. Now, I've liked what I've seen in the preseason from him. Obviously, you take everything in preseason with a massive grain of salt. He looked faster though. And I know that again, preseason, but you don't change your skating speed for the preseason versus the regular season. The competition changes, you don't. And I think he looks a bit more explosive. I think he looks a lot more eager to let that shot rip off the wing while he's skating at top speed than he was last season. And overall, I think he went into this offseason incredibly motivated. And like Demko, he was able to spend a lot of it training instead of rehabbing that knee that's been causing him a lot of issues over the past, say, year and a half. And besides Pettersson, at second line center is Philip Hedl, who is going to be the ultimate X factor for the Canucks this season. I wrote an article about this on Canucks Army a couple of days ago about how important he's going to be for the rest of this team because I think about Philip Hedl and you think third line kind of guy, he can fill in a role, fast player, but what does he really contribute? The point that I made in the article was if you look at Hedl both with the eye test, which is the most important to me, like you can see how he skates through the neutral zone, creates controlled zone entries, is a good passer in the offensive zone. And also, when you look at his advanced statistics, like his Corsi 4, his expected goals, his chances created, they are right in line with all of the top 6 options that the Canucks were rumored to be shopping for this offseason. The only issue is he can't stay healthy. And again, like Pettersson, like Demko, like there's nothing we can do to predict injuries like that. If he's able to stay healthy, though, I think he will be able to produce somewhere between 50 to 60, maybe even 70 points, which is more than enough from your second line center, especially when you're surrounding him with a Connor Garland who's going to be able to finish some of these plays as well and drive the play himself with his speed. Brock Besser re-signing is huge for this top 6. Obviously, one of the most natural goal scorers in the entire league. Like, I still can't believe the Canucks got him for the deal that they got him on. And the other thing is, again, this is mostly a regular season preview, but if the Canucks are able to get into the playoffs with their forward depth, and I think they have a first line and 3 third lines, that's not a great thing for the regular season. It absolutely is for the playoffs. Being able to cycle through lines is the way the Florida Panthers have been able to win back-to-back Stanley Cups. It's the way the Lightning won their cups. It's the way the Caps won their cup back in 2018. Their fourth line being not just as good, but similar to their second line is a real advantage when the ice gets shrunk down and condensed and the games get tighter and tighter. So what does this mean for the regular season? All of what I just said. Well, for me, I am expecting just under 100 points, and I am expecting a playoff berth from the Vancouver Canucks. Now, to me, some of this has to do with Anaheim and if they're able to take a big step forward this season. But on paper, I think the Canucks have a better roster with more veteran presence and just more experience, and to be honest, more expectations to win and more pride in their ability for this core to be successful. So I think the Canucks are in for a bounce back year. I'm very excited to see it. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys anticipate the Canucks doing this season? How many points do they make the playoffs? How far do they go in the playoffs? Let me know in the comments below. I am small enough as to where I can respond to all comments. Love doing so. So drop something down there. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed what you heard. Please subscribe if you really enjoyed it. The Spit Sports Show just at over 400 subscribers. Big things happening on this channel. As always, I'll see you all in the next. Peace out. Love you guys.